Hi, welcome to Poeting. I'm Nicole Carter, and today I'm interviewing Stephen McGuire. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Nicole.
So today is a bit different because Stephen writes short stories. So this is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this. So, if you could tell us a wee bit about yourself first, please.
So my name's Stephen McGuire, and I do a little work for myself, doing music mindfulness and creative writing, and I also do creative writing workshops with short stories. As far as the creative writing side of thing goes, I was pretty late to the party. I didn't start really getting involved in creative writing until I was in my 40s. And that led on to me facilitating some creative writing groups as part of my job. And before I know it, I was in sort of hook, line, sinker, writing short stories, all these ideas that I'd been collecting up for the first 40 odd years of my life. I started putting them into short stories. And I just find it really probably like therapeutic because you can just turn off. And when I'm writing, I write with my pen and paper, then I type them up. And I think there's just something like very cathartic about sitting, just with your pen, using that as your antenna to the universe and doing some writing.
Cool, brilliant. So let's get into it. Let's hear some of your work, please.
Okay, so this is called The Gilded Castle of Sin, Part 2. So I feel as if I should be looking at the camera, but I'm obviously going to be
Don't worry
looking
about
at
that. No,
the
it's fine.
title. I kissed the back of her head before I ran my fingers through her jet black hair. I thought about how I could have the perfect life with her here in London, and if ever there was a perfect time for a slip of the consciousness into a parallel world, then it would be right now. To go back home somewhere with Kelly and fall into bed, a perfect life with her, and a band that would be firing on all cylinders. But no, the underground train rolls into the platform and we got on the Northern Line as if it's been sent as a reaction to my thought process to take us back to our separate realities. Kelly was going up to Highgate, and just to spend an extra minute or two with her, I decided to get off the train at Kentish Town and walk down towards Camden from there. I hoped that I would see her again. Another day in another life, perhaps. Decisions are always happening. I was thinking about decisions in general and decisions that I had made throughout my own life. Perhaps this was the start of what it felt like to be a cheating bastard. The first ripples of guilt. I didn't sleep with Kelly, but there was some kind of guilt present, and it was amplified by the drugs that were leaving my system. Did I even love Angie? I was questioning my love for Angie as I walked through early morning Camden Town. I thought that I did. Did I just believe that moving to Harlow to be with Angie seemed like the right thing to do at that point in my life? The band was well and truly over. And if that was all over, then settling down with Angie seemed like the logical thing to do. I wasn't sure if the time was right to be thinking about all this. We exchanged phone numbers and scraps of paper, and I'd given her the number for my parents' house in Glasgow for obvious reasons. So contacting her was pretty much up to me. And maybe she didn't even want me to contact her. I told her that I would be in Glasgow for a few weeks. I wasn't guilty about the feelings I had for Kelly, so it must be coming from the feelings that I knew I still had for Angie. I think at this time I just had general feelings of guilt for being an all-round general fuck-up of a person, a general disaster, a waster, one who has achieved fuck all and will always achieve fuck all, always destined to be a fuck up of some sort. Everyone talks about fate being a good thing. The groom's speeches at weddings. It was fate that brought us both together, or a lottery winner. It was a stroke of luck that I bought a ticket. It must have been fate. They never talk about the dark side of fate. No one ever takes responsibility for the bad shit that happens. People always want to pin that bad stuff on someone else, and I found this out the hard way. I walked up the staircase to number 8. Oliver's Camden Town flat. I was coming down and the hangover was kicking in now. I was questioning my own existence and my supposed love for Angie. I still had a key to Oliver's flat in my pocket from when I set off to the off licence the night before. I unlocked the storm door and opened a large Victorian door, and when I crossed the threshold into Oliver's flat, I could feel that something wasn't right. It was as though the air was filled with semi-charged particles of some sort, a connection between worlds or universes. I could feel the static run from the base of my spine up to my neck. I was filled with a strange curiosity as I opened the door between the hall and the living room. I entered the living room. The needle was still in his arm. His body had clearly changed status from living to deceased. His arm was bruised, black and blue, from early signs of decomposing, I thought, like a reptile's toxic bite. I sat down in the chair across from Oliver's corpse. His body was cold and lonely, like stone, like homelessness. There was absolutely no need to check for a pulse or put a mirror under his nose to see if he was still breathing. I could sense it. I could sense that Oliver was not in the room. It was just his body. It was his body that was in front of me, not Oliver himself. I removed the needle and sat down again, and I picked up his ashtray. I looked in the ashtray and there was a half-smoked joint in it, so I lit it up. This might seem a bit dark, but one of the last things he ever done was to roll this joint. It seemed ceremonial and the right thing to do. It would be the last joint I shared with someone I loved, someone just beyond the perimeter of life and death. I looked at the roach between my thumb and my index finger as I held the smoke inside my lungs, considering some of the times we'd shared together in the past, going right back to our school days. There was, however, a tinge of guilt about smoking a dead man's joint.
Wow. Did you say that was part two?
That's part two, yeah.
So have you got more? Are you writing more?
That, that one, it's sitting as like a long short story that's
Mhm.
about 3,000 words just now.
Right.
But I've got sort of prequels and other half bits of writing that could merge it together. Sort of like when you watch a film and you get the ending at the beginning,
Mm. Yeah.
that's what it would be, and then it would flash back to when he first met Oliver and you would go through the stages of their life.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but my problem is I've got all these great ideas and I've not got the time to go.
Oh, you'll get there. You'll get there. Right. Okay. So, can we hear you perform anywhere? What do you get up to?
So, what the probably the only regular place I would perform or read short stories is through my wee organisation, City Rights, I do an open mic night every second month, the last Friday of every second month at a place called The Base in Maryhill. So it's open mic for people who are in recovery from drugs or alcohol or in mental health recovery. Also, it's just an open opportunity for people from the community to get together, play guitar, sing songs, and read short stories and poetry.
Brilliant. That sounds really positive, actually. I actually started writing at a psychiatric hospital creative writing group. It's not going to that at the moment, but yeah, so it's amazing because you mentioned before about it being cathartic, and it is. Writing is very cathartic. So, okay, so give us more information. How can we get involved, or how can folk in the local area to City Rights get involved?
Pretty much you're looking at my Facebook page and my Instagrams. We do everything by social media right these days, don't we? And you're probably listening to me on social media just now. So I do a weekly writing group at a cafe in Glasgow. So again, as we've kind of chatted about before, Nicole, heavily weighted to the stuff I do is in Glasgow. So we do a weekly writing group in a cafe where people workshop ideas. I also do two music mindfulness and creative writing groups with two addiction charities. One of them's a closed group because it's the charity basically pays for me to go in and deliver it. And the other one, it's an open door policy at a recovery cafe. So that's every Thursday at 1 o'clock in Knightswood. And anyone's welcome to come along. You don't need to have an addiction recovery background or but people in Glasgow, Scotland, we're all affected by addiction recovery, mental health, or we get family or friends. So what you might come down and learn something about addiction recovery as much as you might learn something about creative writing. So it's a good place to come along and just go to your first creative writing workshop.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, and your plans for 2026?
Plans for 2026 are to finish the collection of short stories. I've also got a draft of a novella, which I've been working on. And probably, if I'm honest, the less inspiring side of creative writing for me is doing the editing. It's like editing a Word document. It's very worky for me sitting in front of the computer. So I've sort of made 2026, and I know this isn't the greatest answer for the interview either, but it's going to be my chance to edit my short stories, put them in order, and also do a bit of work in the novella. And as I say, one of the big things at the moment for City Rights and what I'm doing with the writing groups is the sort of establishing the weekly creative writing group in the cafe. A lot of new authors coming along there, a couple of people that have self-published. So it's building that group. And then the open mic nights. At some point, we're doing an open mic night every second month just now. But we're hopefully going to, when we get into the winter, switch that to every month. So that again, it's a little bit more work, but it's something that's a bit more regular. And that would mean I would be doing two creative writing groups that are open to anyone. And we'd be doing an open mic night. And that's sort of where I'm looking to get City Rights to at this point. A couple of well established groups and an open mic night where people can come along and perform their work.
Cool. That sounds like a good plan, or lots of good plans. Finally, could you give us short details of your socials that we can find you on, please?
Yeah, so Instagram it's City Rights, and Facebook it's also City Rights. So if you just pop us into the search engine in either Google or Instagram, you'll find City Rights. And my email address, if you want to just pop it in a link when you're putting this up, it's cityrightsinfo@gmail.com. And as I say, if MDs want to drop us an email, if they want information about groups, or they would, if it's an organisation out there that would like some workshops put on, then I'm happy to have a chat with anybody about, future collaborations.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okie dokie, Stephen. Awesome. Thanks very much again. And yeah, I'll chat to you in a couple of seconds when I press stop the cord.
Thank you. Thanks for listening,
Thanks,
everyone.
Stephen. Bye, folks.